gotta come up, Corey. Oh, stop. Welcome to another episode of Life Off-Road. This week's feature is a 1989 Saleen Mustang, Fox body style. This is one of the rarest cars I ever seen. You hardly ever see this particular body style on the road. And I want to bring my good friend to tell us more about it. Brad, come on in here.
How's it going, John? Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you
Always
too, man.
Good to see you.
All right. So, tell us what we have here, man. I remember when you first told me about this car, you know, I was just like, I didn't even know Celine even had a Fox body. I just thought maybe they started making them in like 93, 94. So. No,
they started making the Celenes in, I believe, 1984 is when they started. This is a 1989 model, and I probably had it since 2012. Okay. And but back in the day, this was you know, back in the early 80s when we were first getting out of you know, high school and everything. That's when they came out with the Boss. They put it back on the road in '82. Right. So the Fox body Mustang's always kind of been one of my favorite cars.
Right. This particular body style always was the respectable body styles of the Mustang because they were so light. They were very fast. I mean, most of them can. This has a 302 in it, or?
Yes, it has a 302, and it's got a supercharger that was put on at the dealership. Afterwards, but it came with like 225 horsepower, about 300 foot-pounds of torque. That was without the supercharger on it from the factory. Okay,
and this is also named after the racer Steve Saleen. A lot of guys don't really know the history on him, but you know, this is very nice. About how many of these did they actually make of this particular style here?
Actually, 1989, it was the highest production year of the Fox body Celine. They built 731 cars that year and a few Ranger trucks back in '89. This particular color combination with the black and the gray interior, they built 32 convertibles this color, so there's only 32 '89 convertibles with this color combination.
Okay, sweet. Let's have a look at the engine here.
Yeah, sure. Let me pop the hood.
All right, so we're looking at a 302 here, 5.0 liter.
Yep. Okay. It was all factory. These were the same engines that came in the LXs and the GTs. Okay. And one of the neat things that Celine did when he was building this car, you didn't have to worry about any kind of EPA or anything like that. Right. 225 horsepower by this day and age, and the standards that's going on, you know, right now. That seems like you know, not really a lot of horsepower.
Right, but at that time though, that was pretty quick for that.
Yeah. Back in the day, this was the car to beat. Right. Back in the day. One of the neat things about the 5-liter engine, there's so many different options and aftermarket parts and things like that. Right. That you could add to these engines and up the horsepower. The original owner of this car, he had the Paxton supercharger installed at the dealership. Okay. When he bought it, and this car actually dynos at 290 at the rear wheels. Okay, that's pretty strong. Yeah. Okay. Now, what gears are you running out of the back of this thing? The Celenes came with two options, a 308 and a 355 gear, and this car is equipped with a 355 optional gear in the back of it. Of course, they came with just a standard Borg-Warner T5 transmission. Okay.
Borg-Warner, yeah, that was a pretty reputable transmission that Ford's always used. Okay. Yeah, so 290 to the wheels, that's pretty that's doing a little something.
Back in the day, 290, that was a lot of horsepower back in the day. And one of the nice things about superchargers, they were really quiet, and a lot of people didn't know that was on the car. All the new superchargers, they're gear driven. This particular supercharger has the old ball bearing type. It's old technology, even dates back to the 50s.
Okay. Okay. And this is a Celine stamp here?
Yes, sir. The number all the cars had serial numbers to match the production of the car. Like I said, there were 731 cars produced this year in '89.
Okay.
And they're numbered, have a numbered plaque here in the engine compartment, also one in the inside on the console, and then they were all numbered here on the bumper as well.
Okay. Number 258, this one is.
Yes, sir. This is the 258th one built. The first 6 or 7 cars Celine raced.
Okay.
So you never did see the lower number cars out on the street. They were actually raced on the track.
Okay. Now, when they built these out of manufacturers, did they have to haul a set of LXs to another off the property manufacturers to do the Celine upgrades to it, or was they all built at the Ford plant?
No, they weren't built at the Ford plant. They arrived at the Celine warehouse or whatever,
Okay.
and they did everything in-house.
Okay, kind of like how Shelby did. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly how they did.
Okay. Well, I think it's time we take this thing for a ride. All right. We are in the Celine.
So when's the last time you've been behind a Ford?
Ironically, a couple of weeks ago,
Oh, really?
I did my buddy's Cobras.
That's right.
Selling those, yeah. That was just such a fun shoot, man. I really enjoyed doing that one. It was bittersweet as well, but you know,
Right.
that was my first time driving both of those cars. I had never driven a Terminator. I always wanted to drive one.
Right.
And you know, I didn't really know anybody who had one, because Corey had a GT, but he never had a Terminator. And then once he had the Shelby, I was like, oh man, you know, let me get a chance to drive that. So yeah, both of those are pretty fun. I got a couple of Ford buddies too. Another friend of mine, he has a GT that he's put I think a Madison supercharger on it.
Right.
So that'd be a whole lot of fun.
I think that's one of the things I love about car guys. I mean, it doesn't make a difference if you're a Chevrolet guy, Ford guy,
Yeah.
Porsche, Ferrari. You
Yeah,
know.
Dodge, you know.
Yeah, Dodge. I mean, it's great to see everybody come together. Hang out.
Yeah, that's
And,
one thing we do have in common is everybody are car people, you know, and it's, like I said, the car is always the story.
Right.
You know, that's what everybody wants to hear.
I tell you, one of the reasons I kind of got all involved in cars is my grandfather worked for the local Ford dealer here in town.
Okay.
And, he actually died when he was 56.
Oh, wow.
Matter of fact, I'm 56.
Wow.
I always kind of ran around with him and Dad working on
Yeah.
cars. So that's how I kind of got to be a Ford fan.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you come on the Ford side of things? So
Yeah.
that's
I'm really late 60s, early 70s model. I really like the GM products. As far as personal preference, that's probably some of my favorite vehicles.
right.
I kind of been looking for a big Cadillac, mid-60s model Cadillac,
Yeah.
but my family was in the kind of in the Ford business. My granddad worked at the dealership. My dad worked there when he was in college, so we always had Fords growing up.
This thing rides absolutely beautifully. So this was known for a good suspension they had on here. What is it?
I've kind of done a couple things to it. The Celine suspension that actually came from the factory had specific rate springs as far as the spring rate on the car, and that really, you know, got them to handle really well. They lowered the stance, they changed the springs, and they were also running some Formula GP struts and shocks on it,
Okay.
along with quad shocks, which you know, really helped the handling of the Fox body Mustang. However, if you have one of these cars, you'll find out that over the years the springs begin to sag a little bit. And I've actually changed the springs out on this. I kept the original springs, but I changed the springs out and put some progressive rate springs on it, so really helped the ride a lot. You know, if you just out cruising on the highway here.
Right.
But they were known to ride really rough. They were rough riding cars.
Yeah, this ride's pretty good. And that's one of the first things I've noticed about this thing is how the stance when we first got in the car, just the stance of it, just how low and aggressive it's set. You know, you really didn't have to lower it all that much.
I tell you, one of the things I enjoyed when you know, when they first came out with these cars, you know, they had a few aftermarket things you could add in addition to the Celine suspension. Estida made some.
Go ahead, roll, Corey.
Suspension. Estida made some suspension components and some things like that. You could do a few modifications of these cars, and the old C5 Corvettes and things some buddies of mine had, they get really upset when I crawl up their exhaust pipe on a windy road in a Fox body Mustang.
Yeah. I know that was a whole lot of fun, man. Like I said, these Fox bodies were, like I said, they were so light. They just get out the box pretty quick. I mean, they were lightning fast. I see why the state troopers used them back in the day.
Yeah, they had I believe it was '89 when I think the Seal Beach Police Department out in California, they solicited the production of their first Celine patrol car. And they were the first ones to have it. And of course, Georgia State Patrol and a lot of the other states, you know, they started using the Fox body Mustangs as well. But I don't know if California was the only.
Go ahead, pass this guy.
I don't know if California was the only state for that town was to have the actual Celine.
Now, one of the other things I noticed did this come with 4-wheel disc brakes, or did y'all put that on?
That was a conversion that Celine did. They would remove the drum here, and I believe it was the MK 1200 rear disc conversion kit. It was a disc brake kit that they would use on the Lincolns.
Oh, okay.
But it fit the 8.8 rear end.
You have to have your 4-wheel ABS to be able to stop, you know.
Actually, the Fox bodies, they didn't have ABS brakes.
No, okay.
And that was probably one of the weak links in the Fox body Celines, was their braking system. And of course, you can change that over. There's a lot of aftermarket companies making some really nice bigger brake kits now than what came on them from the factory.
So how many trophies you actually won in this thing? I know you put in a lot of shows, so I'm sure you...
Yeah, I haven't been in a whole lot of shows in this particular one, but I kind of quit keeping count of them.
I bet it draws a lot of attention though.
Yes, it does. It does draw a lot of attention. A lot of the guys, they really enjoy, going out, participating at the car shows and winning trophies with their cars. I just like the camaraderie more than anything. I like to go hang out with the guys and just hang out. And, if I get to win,
get in front of him.
If I get to win a little trophy on the side, that's great too.
Yeah, I've always liked this car, man. Every time you used to drive it to work every blue moon, I'm like, man, that's a nice Fox body, man. I always loved that particular tail on the Fox bodies. I mean, it just gave it a nice racer's edge look to it. I mean, it was just so distinct.
But I love the body styling of these cars when they first came out. It was so really on the market. We were coming out of the 70s and in the 80s there, where they had the energy crisis with the fuel and everything. So the horsepower was down on everything. I believe the Fox body Mustang it was really the first really muscle car to come. You know, after all that went down in the 70s and 80s.
So about how many of these convertibles did they make of these?
I'm not sure the exact numbers. I do know in this color combination there was 32 cars made with the black and the gray interior. They made a total of 731 cars in '89. It was the highest production year of the Saleen. The lowest production year was actually '92. And I actually used to own one of those cars. It was number 21.
Oh, wow, okay.
And
same color, or was it a different color?
It was black on black.
Okay.
Black interior, black car. I love black cars.
Yeah.
Man, they're hard to keep clean.
They're hard to keep clean, I know, man.
That's
the only thing that sucks about it. But once you put that wax on it, man, it's the prettiest sight you ever want to see. And we made it.
Did you notice how the turning radius was a lot tighter when you pulled tighter on the wheel?
Yeah, I was like,
it got really tight when you
I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, but it's not bad turn radius for 1989.
Yeah. But these cars back in '89. You know, Celine, of course, they changed the suspension on it. Came with different springs, different struts, and shocks. They were the Formula GPs. They also had a strut tower brace up top. They really tightened the front end up top a lot. They had a G-load brace on the bottom.
Okay.
And they changed the wheels up. They were running American Racing 16 by 7s up front, 16/8s on the back, and they came with the General tires at the time. Of course, these tires have dry rotted, or those tires have dry rotted since then, and I've changed them. I'm running a Bridgestone Potenza tire now.
Potenzas, okay, those are pretty good.
Yeah, I like them. They're really sticky.
Yeah.
And I actually wanted to go up one tire size on the back. And it's 16-inch tires.
Okay.
Yeah. And Bridgestone, in the size I want to go on the rear, Bridgestone was the only one that was making a street tire in that size that I wanted. A lot of the Porsche guys were running these tires on their Porsches because they were running 16-inch wheels on their cars.
Rides and handles very nicely. And you would think with most, convertibles, everybody always say that the hard tops ride, better or smoother, but you really don't. To me, I don't think you really notice a huge difference.
Right.
Maybe if you're trying to drag race somebody with the top down, you probably pay for it in weight, but
I tell you where you really notice the difference in this car. I like the drop top. It's really nice, on a day like this, let the top down and just enjoy yourself. But if you really get on a windy road up in the mountains, you can really feel the body flex on it, and it really makes a difference if you got a hard top car.
Yeah, I know this thing. You say you took this to the Dragon's Tail, or what's it called? Nashville.
We took it up to North Carolina. There's a stretch of road up there here in the southeast. It's picked up the nickname the Dragon's Tail. Okay. And I can't remember how many curves are actually on that stretch of road, but it's about 11 or 13 miles stretch of road if I remember right.
Now, how many of these do you actually see when you do like the Saleen clubs? There's a lot of guys that have, I'm sure they might have maybe a different color than yours.
Yeah, actually when they have a Saleen event, you see quite a few in some of the shows and everything. You hardly ever see one of these out on the road anymore.
Right.
If you do, it's rare. It's real rare.
Right.
You see one. A lot of collectors are scooping them up. Well,
That was a lot of fun, man. This is it's a beautiful car, and no, it is not for sale. So before y'all start asking, you know,
everything's for sale.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? So, again, man, this is really a fun thing to drive. I've always wanted to drive one of these, so I can now scratch this off the list. I want to thank my buddy Brad for coming on.
I appreciate your company. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you know, it was a lot of fun, and Brad has a nice old school pickup that we're going to do next, so we'll come back and shoot that one. But until then, we'll see you next week.